Oh my gosh, you guys, can you believe it? Hollywood's making a long-belated sequel to a beloved 2000s movie. I know, I can hardly believe it myself. Boy, I sure hope this starts a trend. You know, in making these videos, I've learned two very important things. First, people still think I'm a film critic, and they try to like debunk my movie reviews, which is like, that's like trying to debunk The Onion or something. And second, people think I hate everything, which is hilarious, because if you actually watch any single one of my videos, you would know that that's just like literally not true. But I'll tell you right now, okay, Devil Wears Prada, one of my favorite movies of all time. I've seen this movie more times than anyone probably should, honestly. One of Anne Hathaway's greatest, I'll tell you what. And now, in a totally shocking plot twist, this 2006 movie is getting a sequel? What? So I wanted to jump back in and check it out. Like, I realized I haven't seen it in so long, I can't even remember last time I heard the word cerulean. But what better time than now, huh? Come on, kids, let's take a walk. We start off with our main character, Andrea. Apparently everyone calls her Andy, and she can't get him to stop, I guess. Andrea, of course, is just a regular frumpy-dumpy girl trying to make it in a big city. Now, speaking of things primarily aimed at women aged 25 to 40, this video is brought to you by Blesa. Blesa is a company with one mission, and that's to help you relieve stress via
massaging yourself. Wink, wink.
And let me tell you, they have some of the best
massage devices
in the business. The Rose toy, the huge viral TikTok sensation, you know, depending on what corners of TikTok you find yourself in. It has 10 different modes. It looks pretty cute on its own too, like it's very discreet in case you don't want people to know that you enjoy
massages.
The pebble is even smaller, perfectly designed to fit in your hand, and from what I've heard from reliable sources, definitely gets the job done. Perfect for late nights when the kids are pretending to be asleep, but actually they're just playing their Game Boy Advance SP under the covers, or maybe you're on a trip with friends, or, you know, for sneak attacks. I don't know. From what I understand, they are quite powerful, you know, for massages. Great for on the go, or just to help you unwind after all the stress of having to make like 2 phone calls in one day. Wow, I'm like so brave. And so if any of this sounds remotely interesting to you, everyone who signs up with my link will get a free Rose toy sent directly to you. Just click my link down below, sign up to the giveaway, and massage your daily stress away with Blesa. Okay, back to the show. And we know she's frumpy-dumpy because in the intro, she gets a bagel instead of like counting out 4 almonds or whatever this girl's doing. Also, I love how in the intro montage, like all the women are going out to work while the dudes are just like in bed. What's the story here? Is everyone else a YouTuber too? What the heck is going on right now? Now, because Andrea is so, you know, normal looking, gross, barf, that means she's really smart and capable because these things are apparently mutually exclusive. She wants to be a journalist, writing those hard-hitting stories we've all seen, you know, like best bulges at the Winter Olympics. But it's tough out there in the old job market, and the only thing she could really find was an interview at Runway magazine.
Hi, I have an appointment with Emily Charlton.
Andrea Sachs?
Yes?
Human Resources certainly has an odd sense of humor.
Whoa, pre-face job Emily Blunt. That's like a shiny Pokemon. You know, it's crazy that this movie and Ugly Betty came out at the same time. Like, what was in the water back in 2006? The Click 5 came out and just everything changed forever, I guess. But okay, so Andrea's there for an interview, but everyone suddenly starts freaking out because Miranda Priestley, the editor-in-chief of the magazine, is coming to the office early, and that means chaos.
No, I'm so sorry, Miranda. I actually did confirm last
Details
night.
of your incompetence do not interest me. Tell Simone I'm not going to prove that girl that she sent me for the Brazilian layout. Ask him to please meet me for dinner at that place I went to with Massimo.
Are you lost, baby girl? But you know, watching this all back now, I really gotta wonder how the sequel's gonna handle like any of this. Like the idea of having to put up with a boss who's like this is just not something people do really nowadays. Like the entire world, rightfully so, is fed up with this kind of work culture and like Miranda or like the dude from Whiplash. Like, you know what I mean? It's like people just don't really want to put up with that. Like no one even worships their crazy narcissistic boss who's almost always wrong anymore. We used to be a proper country. But whatever. Anyway, Andrea quickly realizes that this kind of place really isn't for her. She doesn't fit in. Everyone's making fun of how she looks. But then Miranda wants to interview her directly to see like the heck is going on with all this. I mean, a polyblend sweater from the Gap of all things?
Well, clearly I'm going to have to do that myself because the last 2 you sent me were completely inadequate, so send her in. That's all.
Yeah, I came to New York to be a journalist and sent letters out everywhere and
So you don't read Runway. You have no style or sense of fashion.
I think that depends on what you're...
No, that wasn't a question.
Yeah, you know, that's some pretty big talk from someone who has the same exact haircut that Leonardo DiCaprio did back in Growing Pains, okay? So Andrea kind of figures that she's not really gonna get the job. Everyone's just a bunch of mean girls anyway, so she decides to tell Miranda exactly what she really thinks.
You're right. I don't fit in here. I am not skinny or glamorous, and I don't know that much about fashion, but I'm smart I learn fast, and I will work
All right,
very
I've got
hard.
the exclusive on the Cavalli for Gwyneth.
And after she says all that, you'll never guess what happens. She gets the job. But now the real test begins, because like however chaotic she thought the job was gonna be, she had no idea. She's getting calls at 5:30 in the morning. Miranda keeps giving out tasks that make like no sense whatsoever.
Get me, Isaac. I don't see my breakfast here. Are my eggs here? Where are my eggs? Where's that piece of paper I had in my hand yesterday morning? Girls need new surfboards or boogie boards or something for spring break.
It's a real fish out of water story, you know what I'm saying? Andrea's a good, smart writer. She wants to take on the world and make her mark, and all she's doing is fetching skirts and scarves, and everyone's making fun of her shoes all day?
Guess not.
I guessed an 8.5.
Wow, that's very nice of you, but I don't think I need these. Miranda hired me. She knows what I look like.
Do you?
This is one of my favorite line deliveries of all time. Like, it's so simple, but the way he says it is so perfect.
I don't think I need these. Miranda hired me. She knows what I look like.
Do you?
Actually, this guy right here, Nigel, one of my favorite character archetypes, where it's like he's obviously looking out for Andrea, but he's doing it in like a very kind of realistic way. Like he's not overly mean to like make a point for the movie, but he's not like super overly nice either. Like, I don't know, there's just something about how this character is written and acted that feels so relatably realistic. In that like he clearly has his own motivations and reasons for doing things, but it's also clear that he's like a nice person. But there's nothing about this character that feels forced or like artificial in like any way.
You think my clothes are hideous, I get it. You know, I'm not going to be in fashion forever, so I don't really see the point of changing everything about myself just because I have this job.
True. That's really what this multi-billion-dollar industry is all about anyway, isn't it? Inner beauty.
Just everything he says is so good. The most undersung character in this movie, I'll tell you that right now, okay? I know everyone's always on about Miranda Priestley and how sassy and catty she is, which is also very true. Like, as the movie goes on, Andrea keeps resisting the pull of the fashion, you know? Like she's not interested in diving deep into the fashion industry, okay? She's just there for a job, you know, just wants to pay rent and not starve, right? It's like, you know when you go to job interviews and they're like, so why did you apply to work here? Like, you're supposed to say something dumb like, ever since I was a young boy, I've always had a passion for watching 3-week-old taquitos spin around inside the thing, whatever it's called. Even though we all know the real reason is like, well, you know, being homeless and starving to death sure sounds like a bummer, so here I am. Which, of course, brings us to maybe the most iconic scene of the movie, which is the Cerulean scene. But, of course, because of YouTube copyright nonsense, I can only show like 10 seconds of it. But y'all know what I'm talking about.
And it's sort of comical how you think that you've made a choice that exempts you from the fashion industry when, in fact, you're wearing a sweater that was selected for you by the people in this room from a pile of stuff.
You know, back in 2006, I assumed this was supposed to be made like in favor of the fashion industry and how like there's so much more to it than just overpriced sweaters or whatever. But watching this now, it kind of just hammers home the concept that like we're all part of this machine that has made everyone's life worse, and there's no decision that we can make that hasn't already been made for us by the system, you know? Like in 2026, this scene is actually incredibly depressing. But somehow, for some reason, this kind of lights a fire under Andrea, and she thinks like maybe there's more to this job than just being yelled at and crying every 4 hours because you couldn't somehow magically get a flight from Miami to New York during a stage 5 hurricane. I mean, hey, they also have shoes.
I don't know what you expect me to do.
There's nothing in this whole closet that'll fit a size 6, I can guarantee you.
It might fit. It might. Darling, shall we? We have to get to the beauty department, and God knows how long that's going to take.
You know, I don't know if any other actress has had more makeover scenes than Anne Hathaway. How many times are we gonna have to pretend like she's not gorgeous? And you know, earlier I was joking about Emily Blunt, and like, of course it's her face, you know, do whatever you want, it's fine. But that being said, whatever clinic Anne Hathaway goes to get her work done, it's just full of warlocks, or like she has like the most mangled up painting in her attic right now, you know what I'm saying? Because like, she looks almost exactly the same in 2026 as she did back in 2006. Wait, guys, hold on. 2006 was 20 years ago. Oh, no. But okay, so now that Andrea is fully immersed in her job, she dresses nice and she wears really dumb hats. Miranda finally respects her.
Well, but I'll leave word. Okay, thanks, bye.
Are you wearing the
The Maduro jail fit? Yes, I am. You wouldn't download the president of Venezuela. Now it's time for her to deliver the book, which is like the mock-up of the whole magazine that Miranda goes through every night and makes notes and stuff. And it's supposed to be delivered to her townhouse directly. And it's like this really special way that you're supposed to do it, but of course Andrea messes it up.
Nobody could get a signal
And
out.
I knew what everyone in that restaurant was thinking. There he is, waiting for her again.
This leads to Miranda kind of having it out for Andrea because of the embarrassing personal life stuff that no one's supposed to see. So to get her revenge, she tells Andrea to get her the unpublished manuscript of the new Harry Potter book so her kids can read it. This, of course, is supposed to be impossible.
Okay, I have 4 hours to get the impossible manuscript. Smith & Wollensky's doesn't open until 11:30. How am I gonna get the steak? Okay, I will be back in 15 minutes. Wish me luck.
No, shan't.
I'm sorry. This movie just has the best lines. I think only Mean Girls has more iconic one-liners than this movie. But of course, she gets the manuscript in the end and proves to Miranda that if you give her unrealistic, impossible, back-breaking tasks, she can do them, which means this will become the standard going forward. So, joke's on you, Andrea. So the movie goes on like this. Andrea quickly becomes Miranda's favorite and replaces Emily in almost every aspect. Andrea gets to go to all these special events, and now she's the one going to Paris, which was supposed to be Emily's whole thing, right? I mean, do you have any idea how long she's been eating nothing but cheese cubes?
Well, I'm on this new diet. It's very effective. Well, I don't eat anything. And then when I feel like I'm about to faint, I eat a cube of cheese.
Well, it's definitely working.
I know. I'm just one stomach flu away from my goal weight.
And all this kind of comes to a head when Andrea's life starts to parallel Miranda's, just in that, like, the more she focuses on her job, the worse her own personal life becomes. Now, this brings us to Andrea's boyfriend, Nate. Nate works at some kind of restaurant doing some kind of something, I assume. He's really just some, like, normal guy. He's been dating Andrea for a while, and things are, like, fine, until Andrea started dressing different, acting different. Her entire life has just become serving this, like, horrible, narcissistic boss, and Nate's kind of just getting hit in the crossfire, you know? Like when Andrea misses his birthday.
You know, I didn't have a choice.
Don't worry about it. And go to bed. You look really pretty.
And that's when she realized she was dating a sad anime boy. Pouty lips, no muscle, all chin, baby. This guy has feelings. And then a little later on, when Andrea has to go to Paris, Nate has finally had enough of just always waiting around for her to remember that he exists.
To say this was just a job, you used to make fun of the runway girls. What happened? Now you've become one of them. Just own up to it. And then we can stop pretending like we have anything in common anymore.
You don't mean that.
No, I do.
You know, I've seen a lot of discourse over the last couple years of everyone being like, hey guys, I think Nate might actually be the real villain of this movie. And like, I can see how you might think that from a certain perspective, as in like, he's not as supportive as he could be, or maybe he's being selfish, or maybe he's being a little bit sexist, you know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, well if you worked a busy job and were gone all the time, society would expect me to wait around for you. Yeah, maybe, but whether or not you bow to social pressure is literally your choice. But like, I don't know, man. I feel like it's a little more complicated than that because like, I've been through something similar to this before, just in the idea of like, the person you're dating kind of slowly changes into almost like a different person. And like, they're no longer the person you fell in love with. So like, you kind of have to think to yourself like, is this all really for me anymore? I know the idea of like unconditional love seems romantic, but in certain contexts, it is a terrible way to live. Well, hey, you loved me once, so now you gotta do it forever, no questions asked. But all the same, Andrea goes on the big trip to Paris Fashion Week, and on this trip, a whole bunch of stuff happens. Like, Andrea finds out that Miranda's gonna be replaced. She finds out that Nigel is leaving. She finds out that Miranda's getting yet another divorce because her husband is also tired of having to put his life on hold for her all the time.
Stephen isn't coming.
So I don't need to fetch Stephen from the airport tomorrow?
Well, if you speak to him and he decides to rethink the divorce, then yes, fetch away.
And just like in seeing all of this, Andrea realizes that she is slowly turning into Miranda, who has a very successful work life, but has given up on any semblance of personal fulfillment. Like, she hardly sees her kids, she's getting divorced yet again. Everyone respects her because they're scared of her, but also everyone kind of despises her at the same time. Although I feel like Nate and Andrea is like totally different than Miranda though, because like, this dude must have known what he was getting into, you know what I'm saying? Like you dated and married the Miranda Priestley, and then suddenly he's like, how come you're busy all the time? My dude, what did you think was gonna happen? But not just in terms of dating and boys, ew, gross cooties. But Andrea also watches as Miranda pretty much throws everyone under the bus to keep her job. Like, Nigel was supposed to go to this new fashion brand, but Miranda like forced him to stay so someone else would go. And Andrea sees all this and realizes that like, to get ahead in this industry, she's gonna have to be ruthless and narcissistic and cutthroat like Miranda. And that all kind of sounds like a lot of work, you know what I'm saying? Back when your phone was just your phone and you could dramatically throw it in a fountain and not just lose your entire life? What a time that was. We then skip ahead some period of time. Andrea is now interviewing at a newspaper, and this guy's already heard about her from Miranda herself.
Left word with some snooty girl. Next thing you know, I got a fax from Miranda Priestley herself, saying that of all the assistants she's ever had, you were by far her biggest disappointment. And if I don't hire you, I am an idiot.
Andrea also reconciles with Nate, who I guess was just waiting around hoping she'd come back. Like, I'm pretty sure a dude who looks like this is not gonna have any trouble in the dating world, but I mean, it is Anne Hathaway, okay? What are you supposed to do?
I turned my back on my friends and my family and on everything I believed in, and for what?
For shoes and shirts and jackets and belts.
And so, the very end of the movie, Andrea and Miranda each see each other across the road, and they share one of those Batman Alfred nods, you know? And that's the last time they ever see each other ever again.
Miranda? Took you long enough.
Well, what the fuck? But you know, real talk, I am really curious about what the sequel is actually gonna like be about. Like, really? Because like, why is Andrea back in fashion? Does Runway Magazine even exist anymore? Or is it just like an Instagram account now? What about the sharp decline in the fashion industry in general these days? Like people don't care about this kind of stuff nearly as much as they used to. See, like nowadays, Gen Z and millennials, like we're much more interested in stuff like affording groceries or 5-star poles in Uma Musume, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's so many Kirby plushes I gotta buy, you kidding me? But overall, I still love this movie. I think it's still incredible. It's one of those things that like, it's more than the sum of its parts, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing particularly amazing about it from like a technical point of view. Like on paper, this movie should be like a solid 7, I guess. But it just has that magic that makes it so timeless. The pacing, the acting is like phenomenal. Every character is so fun to watch whenever they're on screen. It's one of the most lightning in a bottle casting jobs of like any movie ever. Like this movie is still in my top 10 for sure.